A man convicted in 1988 of kidnapping and murdering a 12-year-old girl now has a chance to get a new trial.
It comes after lab tests didn't show his DNA on several items found at the crime scene. News Center Maine's Ann Baldrige joins us now with more on the case. Ann?
Hey, Chris and Zach, Dennis Dechaine has been in prison for 35 years since a jury found him guilty of murdering a 12-year-old Sarah Cherry from Bowdoin. Results from DNA testing done in 2022 excluded Dechaine from 3 of 6 crime scene objects found and collected at the crime scene. A judge has agreed to hear his testimony about the DNA testing and will decide if it's enough to grant Dechaine a new trial. We take a look back at this case, and we do want to warn you that some of these details will be disturbing to some viewers.
This is almost 4 years now since I was arrested, and here you sit interviewing me because this case is controversial. I mean, doesn't that reflect reasonable doubt?
That interview with Dennis Dechaine happened 35 years ago, and all of these years later, Dechaine is still attempting to get a new trial. Sarah Cherry was 12 years old and babysitting at a home in Bowdoin in 1988. Neighbors reported hearing someone pull into the driveway that afternoon and heard the family's dogs barking. In the driveway the mother Cherry was babysitting for found a receipt and a notebook with the name Dennis Dechaine on them. But Dechaine has always claimed he's innocent.
Somebody clearly took 2 items with my name on it, placed them there specifically to put them.
In 2022, Dechaine's lawyer, John Nail, asked for a hearing to submit new evidence showing that the blood found underneath the victim's fingertips was not his client's. 6 items related to the homicide were examined and compared to both Dechaine's blood and the victim's blood found under her thumbnail. Dechaine was excluded from DNA found on 3 of the 6 items. Those include a stick that was used for sexual torture and a scarf used to strangle Sarah Cherry. Dechaine will appear in Knox County Court April 18th and 19th, where his lawyers will argue the new DNA results from testing done in November of 2022 merit a new trial. The judge agreed to let Dechaine's attorney, John Nail, call on a DNA expert who can contextualize the new test results as long as the lab employee who actually conducted the test testifies as well. Well, Dechaine's defense will not be allowed to call his former attorney to testify on his behalf. At the end of all of this, for Sarah Cherry's loved ones, it's about the tragic death of a 12-year-old girl. Cherry's grandmother said this 20 years after Dechaine was arrested.
Talented, smart. She had a great future ahead of her, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure he stays where he belongs. And may he rot in hell after that.
We will bring you an update when Dennis Dechaine goes to court in April to find out if he'll be granted that new trial. Chris and Zach, back to you.
Ann Baldrige live in the studio tonight. Thank you.